The story begins with Kong Youngmoon, an algae collector who retrieves algae crystals from the depths of drains. It is a very dangerous profession that does not bring him much money. In another scene, we see a world where humans have awakened supernatural powers to fight monsters and the danger behind the cells. People are arranged by the number of stars, where those with 0 stars are considered ordinary and incompetent. But returning to the original scene, after the hero's working hours, he meets a government employee to deliver what his father left him, a stone of no value in the form of a necklace. The hero holds the necklace tightly, but he is surprised by a bright light emanating from the necklace, which transports him to a destroyed and deserted place where he sees no one. A window appears to the hero, saying that he has achieved the impossible, that he is the last survivor in the level of hell, and that he has obtained the title of the strongest in hell. As the hero attempts to rectify the situation, blood gushes from his mouth and he falls to the ground, fainting. However, he is sure that no one is around and no one attacked him. Another window appears, stating that he was killed by fine dust, and the time he stayed alive was 4 minutes and 32 seconds. The hero wakes up again and wonders if what he went through was just a dream. But then another window appears, telling him to create a new mission. He must survive until sunrise. After about 1 minute, the hero dies again due to the fine dust, but because of his title as the last survivor, he comes back to life whenever he dies. After he dies 8 times, the hero collapses psychologically and tries to get rid of this hell by any means. The hero collects himself and tries to calm down, staying alive for as long as possible. As time passes, the hero notices that his resistance to poisons has increased. However, he continues to die, and after he dies 28 times, the hero feels a vitality in his body, thinking that he has become stronger. He acquires a rare skill called poisonous blood, which gives him complete immunity against poisons, and his blood turns into poisonous blood. The hero wanders around and finds high-purity algae crystals everywhere. Fortunately, he has a store where he can put whatever he wants, so he puts the crystals in it. A few minutes later, the hero hears a strange sound heading towards him, and behold, an army of mosquitoes attacks him. The hero tries to escape but cannot, and the mosquitoes kill him. After the mosquito kills the hero, he wakes up again because of the effect of his title. This time, he finds that he has killed more than 100 monsters at once due to the effect of his poisonous blood skills. This skill can disassemble anything he touches. The hero tries to put together the pieces that he disassembled and also acquires a new skill called shaping. Later, the hero finds a newspaper, and while trying to read it, he gets a skill called translation. After reading the newspaper, the hero realizes that the place where he is now is his real world, but in the future. Since he cannot change anything at this time, he tries to exploit the situation and learn the largest amount of skills. The hero uses the disassembly skill on the mosquitoes that he killed and gets some raw materials. Then he uses the forging skill on them and obtains a rare element called the Arrow of Hell. So he decides to use the skill of forging on all the materials he had previously collected. So the hero succeeds in obtaining a legendary but unknown egg. During that, out of nowhere, a goblin wearing a red hat suddenly appears and then attacks the hero. The hero tries to resist in various ways, but the goblin was very fast and surprises him. The goblin jumps behind him and hits the hero. But what this goblin does not know is that this person does not die. Since the day has ended, the hero is still alive. He has successfully completed his mission after dying more than 30 times. As a reward for completing the mission, he gets a silver chest. But as compensation for the difficulty of the mission compared to the level of the hero, the reward is increased to a golden chest. After completing the mission, the hero can finally return to his world. After he arrives, he gets angry about what happened to him, and he tries to break the necklace that was the reason for all that. But after thinking again, the hero concludes that he can gain a lot of benefits through this necklace. After the hero rests and takes a warm bath, he checks the golden box that he got from the mission. After opening the box, he obtains a legendary skill called the Battle Assistant. This type of skill is possessed by only 8 people in the world. After that, the hero wants to get some money, so he decides to sell the crystals that he obtained and helped previously. Then, the hero goes with his colleague to meet the buyer who paid a huge sum of money. After shaking hands with him, the hero realizes that he is not an ordinary person. A few days later, the hero returns to the world of hell to obtain more strength and skills. After training for a certain period on the skill of the battle assistant, it becomes clear to him that this supernatural skill helps him avoid punches and focus his strength in one punch. Then, a new mission in the first level appears to him, in which the hero must eliminate some puppets. After landing the first punch, all the puppets activate automatically and target the hero. These puppets are at the first level for each puppet, but the 7th level combined, which is equivalent to being a guard of a person or soldier with more than 5 years of war experience. The hero gets into a serious situation and uses his battle skills. From the start, the dolls surround him from all sides, but the hero hits a punch that shatters the face of one of the dolls. Because of that, the 2nd level of the martial arts is activated in the dolls, so the strength of the dolls increases. They pin him from all sides and hit him with successive punches. Then the hero dies from the severity of the blows. After the hero comes back to life again, he collects pieces of wood and uses the formation skill on them, thus obtaining a stick with high attack power. He hits the arm of one of the puppets, but suddenly the puppet data is updated to the 3rd level of martial arts. This time, the dolls are using all kinds of weapons. After the death of the hero several times, the hero masters the use of battle skill in combat and can overcome and destroy these puppets. The hero is proud of his skills and thinks that the puppets will not be able to defeat him anymore. But after the start of the 4th level of martial arts, the puppets begin to use all known martial arts, such as boxing, karate, and taekwondo. After dying many times because of these arts, the hero can finally learn them and use them on the puppets. Time passes, and the hero continues to train with these dolls. After a long time, this training finally ends, and then he gets a reward of the legendary degree, which is the Cradle of Bliss. It is a piece of cloth that heals all damages in the body and accelerates growth. However, by thinking a little, the hero realizes that he returns to life when he dies, so this piece of cloth is useless for him. Fortunately, the hero remembers the egg he obtained earlier, and because of the growth effect of the piece of cloth, it is possible that it will help to hatch the egg. Indeed, it succeeds, and a large light explodes from the egg, and he gets a strange object, which is a little girl that looks like a mosquito. He checks this object, but the mosquito bites him on his finger, and it seems that she is hungry. The hero tries to feed her some sweets, but she refuses and points to him. The hero understands that she wants his blood, so he allows her to suck some of his blood. The hero tries to inquire about the mosquito and learns that she made a promise to eat all living creatures when the world ends. Since this mosquito was able to suck the blood of the hero and nothing happened to her, she may indeed be able to do so. Since he cannot get rid of it, he tries to tame it and says that it is not allowed to eat humans, especially him. In return, he will allow her to absorb his blood whenever she is hungry. Finally, the hero finishes training the puppets, but one of the puppets thrown aside draws his attention. It has been divided into 2 halves, and then a system shows them that he has acquired a new additional feature, which is the energy of courage. This feature is dependent on his legendary battle auxiliary skills. When the hero tests this attribute, he smashes the puppet in one fell swoop, and his friend, whom he previously named Ririan, wants to try it. She delivers a devastating punch that completely destroys the doll's head. Later, when the hero was wandering around, the mosquito Ririan smelled a delicious scent. When the hero follows the smell, he finds a skeleton, and under his hand a message saying that 3 years have passed since the difficulty rose to the level of hell. The situation is starting to get worse, so most of the children who were born in this toxic atmosphere died as soon as they were born. The people with the ability to bomb and purify could not bury them and began to die one after the other. There was no longer hope for the human race to survive, and humans are inevitably extinct, and indeed it has happened. Meanwhile, the mosquito Ririan finds a stone with a shape like a star drawn on it. The hero picks up the stone, and it radiates a golden light and then explodes. The hero checks his hand and finds that the logo that was drawn on the stone has stuck to his hand. Then a window appears to him, saying that the constellations are watching him. Suddenly, a window appears, and a black ray surrounds the hero. Ririan and the mosquito flee quickly, leaving the hero to be devoured by this race. He is transported to another dimension resembling space, and a window appears, saying that he has been summoned by the planets. And as for the planets, they are beings that have absolute control over their lands located somewhere. These beings put their absolute power into fragments of stones and then distribute them to their followers in order for them to become rulers and expand the influence of these constellations. Our hero, user, got one of these fragments, so the constellations want him to become one of their followers. Then the hero hears a strange sound and looks up to see a beam, a huge ball heading towards him. There are balls of different colors hovering around the hero, making disturbing sounds. The hero wonders about what they're saying. Then a window from the system appears to him, saying that the planets have admired him and his skills and want to invest in him. He must choose one planet from him, but the hero gets angry and says that he does not know anything about these planets. How will he choose between them? A brief definition of these planets appears: the Shattered Ghoul planet, which is a planet with a cunning and deceitful plan. The Snake of Greed and Desire, which is a planet with desires and appetites that are never satisfied. The Weeping Planet, which is a planet of sadness and gloom. It also controls an army of the dead. The Invading Planet, which is a planet specialized in battles and slaughtering enemies. The Whispering Planet, which is a planet that incites in the light but deceits in the darkness. The hero asks what will change if he chooses one of these planets, and a glimpse of the future appears to him if he chooses each of them. Obtaining such a good thing raises the hero's doubts, and he wonders if he has to pay the price for obtaining this power. The planets tell him that he only has to follow and serve this being, but the hero hesitates in choosing and says that there is no guarantee or any contract for him to trust them. The constellations say that they will give him more time to think, then return him to where he was. But one of the constellations catches up with him and approaches him and stings him. It seems that this constellation has granted him a legendary skill called hegemony. The planets can give such legendary skills without any effort, and he thinks that with such skills the Earth would not have perished or reached its current state. Since he has obtained a large amount of algae crystal, he thinks of buying his own house. And when thinking again, he knows that the matter might cause him a lot of problems because he obtained the money illegally. That's why he is thinking of registering as a power user in a government association. This is because ability users can reap a lot of profits through dungeons, and the ability users will be tested within 3 days. In order to officially register as a capable user, several tests must be carried out, including a physical strength test where the tester inserts his hand into one of the devices to hold the glass ball and presses it to measure the strength of the pressure. Unfortunately, the hero breaks the ball easily, so the examiner repeats the test again, but once again he breaks it. And because of that, the examination cannot assess the hero's ability. Because of that, he gave him a result under verification. When doing other tests, the hero continues to obtain a result under verification. As for the last test, it is a test of the ability of the hunter, where the participants must enter a fake dungeon and fight monsters. During this, one of the union leaders arrives at the test site, and one of the participants, the red butterfly, catches his attention while browsing the information of the participants in the test. He is surprised by the hero's ability to poison blood, but ignores the heroic guild leader and puts his file aside due to the disadvantages of this skill. If his blood splatters a little, it will cause great harm to his colleagues. At the beginning of the test, the participants gather at the door of the imaginary cell, and one of the employees gives them a pink stone each. Without saying anything, the participants go to the cell, and on the radio, an official explains the rules of the test. The participants must collect a greater number of stones than were given to them before the test. The participants were divided into 2 groups of 5 people. Over the next 3 hours, they must collect as many stones as possible. They can do this by eliminating the other participants or eliminating the monsters in the cell. However, when the test begins, the hero refuses to participate with this group. He does not want to divide the prize for first place with the rest of the members. The hero is about to leave, but one of his colleagues in the group grabs him from behind and tells him that he will not allow him to go until he hands over his stone. The hero gets angry and slaps him in the face, knocking him to the ground. Then the scales turn, and the hero decides to seize the stones of his colleagues instead of the other way around. Due to the strength of the hero, the colleagues surrender quietly and hand over their stones. But the hero wasn't the only one who did so. The red butterfly also took stones from her group mates. After that, the red butterfly faces the first monster from the dungeon, which is one of the monsters that have been created with modern and new technologies. It is characterized by its exceptional ability to fight endurance monoreflection and also has artificial intelligence. It is skilled in the use of martial skills, and due to the spores of the mushroom beast, it has the ability to self-regenerate. It is impossible to kill him individually, but if there is collective action and they work together, his overthrow becomes possible. Unfortunately, the red butterfly has already abandoned her mates, and she is currently fighting the monster on her own. The guild leader monitors the participants through the external screen, and one of the participants draws his attention, the hero Kangmu, who has already destroyed many monsters on his own, and that the task was very easy for him. Then an announcement appears that half an hour has passed, and that 30 of the tiles have changed their owner, so they will announce the winners of the first 3 places. In third place is Hong Ryan with 7 tiles. In second place is the Red Butterfly with 9 tiles. And in first place is Kenmo with 16 tiles. The hero Kenmo gets first place at the moment. After the hero finished eliminating the monsters easily, he collects the skins of the bog monster and decides to use the formation skill that he obtained previously, thus obtaining armor for the hands and legs and heading to search for more. The Red Butterfly feels nervous because she could not overtake the hero Kenmo. At this moment, a large group of people appears trying to attack the Red Butterfly, and she avoids their attack by jumping high. Through her graceful and dazzling movements, she is able to skip their blows and then attack them to eliminate several of the participants. Then a person comes from afar and destroys everything in front of him. It turns out that she is Hong Ryan, his friend. The Red Butterfly ignores her friend and jumps high, returning to the hero who was wandering around. He feels something approaching him at a crazy speed, and when the Red Butterfly appears from nowhere, without any hesitation, she attacks the hero. So the hero confronts her attacks with difficulty. Without the battle aid skill, it would have been difficult to counter her powerful attacks. The hero sees that the battle has become difficult, and he decides to use the skill that he did not want to use before because it may pose great danger to humans, the skill of courage energy. The Red Butterfly rushes towards King Mo and collects his energy in her right hand. Then the two collide, and the energy explodes everywhere. Because of this collision, the Red Butterfly's arm is shattered. Then the hero asks her to hand over her jewels. Indeed, the Red Butterfly surrenders and throws her jewels on the ground. But without any prior warning, her friend, the Red Butterfly, appears and pushes him hard. The hero collides with the ground and pushes against the wall with force. Of course, she was angry because the hero had hurt her friend. The hero gets up angry and says that he will not let this pass. But the official suddenly announces that the time is up and they will announce the results of the test. In third place with 21 stones is the owner of the glasses. In second place is Kanmo with 69 stones, and in first place is the Red Butterfly with 88 stones because her colleague had given up her stones for the Red Butterfly. Before rushing towards the hero feels disappointed but ignores it. However, his butterfly friend continues to annoy him and says that he should apologize for what he did with her hand. The hero tries to control himself, but she intervenes in his fight, and because of her, he loses first place. And now she wants him to apologize. So, the hero reaches his limits and decides to teach her a lesson. He sends a thin thread that he wraps around her neck. Then he activates the domination skill. A group of large and frightening monsters appears, but no one else seems to see them. The state of panic hits her, and she starts screaming loudly, then falls to the ground. The hero did not expect that the effect of this skill would be so strong, so he runs away. When King Mu reaches the resting area, he sits down and rests, looking quite tired because his domination skill drained a lot of mana. A person in a black suit approaches Kang Mu and hands him the Tyson Guild business card. In another scene, we see the guild leader Li Jin, who was waiting in the car and who was impressed by Kang Mu's skills and therefore wanted to include him in the guild. But his escort returns and apologizes because he could not recruit him. After that, the hero returns home, and on his way back, his colleague asks him about the box that he has. It seems that this box is the prize for the first place, which the Red Butterfly delivered to him as a form of apology. They are rare gloves that increase strength and defense. When the hero arrives at the house, he smells an ominous smell. Then his expressions change completely, and he turns back. It seems that he has sensed something dangerous nearby. He tells his colleague not to go out until he returns. He heads towards the alien and finds a pile of corpses, as well as the old man Park Hosen who bought algae crystals from him previously. He says that these are gang members from Japan who came in search of the mysterious crystal and asks the hero about the reason for his presence. The old man says that he wants to offer an alliance with the Tyson Vale. So the hero told him that he had already rejected their offer, but it seems that the old man does not accept rejection as an answer, so he attacks without listening to him. The hero avoids the attack with difficulty and responds with an energy punch. It seems that he had previously worn gloves, so the old man took out his sword, which was hidden in the stick, and Mo faced great difficulty in dealing with the sword. But with the help of the skill of the battle assistant, he manages to avoid the blows and jumps high away from the range of the sword. But very quickly, the old man approaches him and hits his head. The hero takes advantage of the old man approaching him and grabs his neck, and he uses his dominant skill. The old man loses consciousness, so he tries to pull him by his collar to hit him on the ground. But soon, the old man regains consciousness and directs his sword towards the hero's neck, and blood explodes from the hero, but fortunately from his hand, not from the neck. This is because the old man did not want to kill him. The hero laughs hysterically because the old man has neglected the most important skill of the hero, which is poisonous blood that corrodes his sword and renders it unusable. He takes advantage of his chances and grabs the old man's face with his fist and crushes him against the wall. The old man grabs his hand and hits his elbow on the hero's elbow, breaking it completely. Then he kicks him away and takes out a box of high-quality medicine to use, but even before it takes effect, the hero gets up. Well, this is because of his title, The Last Survivor, which activates when his health drops below 10%. The old man gets up and says that he came to offer a deal, not to fight, and that this was a test to check the hero's background. So he offers to join him again. The hero refuses again, but in return, he offers the old man an offer. It seems that the hero has admired the old man's skills, so he tries to hire him and says that the leader of his union is a famous person in the media only, so he must abandon them and join him. The old man marvels at his arrogance and says that he is either an idiot who is unaware of what is around him or a loser with big dreams. Then he draws his sword again, and the hero thinks that the sword will not help him with anything. But when the old man waves the sword, an energy beam comes out of it, shattering the wall behind the hero. Then the old man says that if he wanted to kill him, he would have done it a long time ago and easily, and he would not have been able to resist. Also, the Bison Guild contains many people who are stronger than him, so a person with this weakness has no right to speak ill of it. But it didn't affect Kang Ho, but he was sure that he would become better than the guild master Ligi, but it's easier said than done. So the old man says that the guild leader, after only half a year of becoming a hunter, managed to reach level 20 that anyone else, even if he was a genius, would have taken at least a year. So if he was not able to reach that, he might prove his capabilities, but not within a year or even half a year. The hero offers to reach level 20 within 2 weeks only because he wants to prove that he is better than the guild leader and not only at the same level, which has been provided all his needs and all the private facilities, but he could not do that. So if the hero wishes to do that, he must have a better place than him. The hero smiles and says, "Don't worry, I have a special place." Indeed, he wasted no time after returning to Hell. He began hunting monsters in large quantities, but even weaker ones have the ability to resist. And during the hero's beating of one of the goblins, he broke his bone and then he crushed his head on the ground. But the hero is not affected by that even a little bit. And that's because before entering Hell, he was only at the 10th level, but now he has already reached the 15th level due to the intense hunting of monsters. And later, the hero's body reaches its limits, so he decides to take a break. But Rinian was waiting for the hero to bring her a meal, and she gets her reward after a long wait. While feeding her, the hero thinks that this level does not pose any threat to him, but only one goblin is the one who can cause problems, and he is the one with the red hat. The biggest fears often become true, and the goblin with the red hat appears from behind the hero, but this time he completely ignores the hero and goes directly towards his people. "Mo, come to me." And after a while, a message appears. The survival time has passed for 12 days and 6 hours. It seems that the goblin was very angry as the hero could not resist, but the goblin's anger did not end with that. Once the hero was revived, the goblin quickly pounces on him and kills him again, and this repeats several more times. The hero decides to confront him finally and punches him with energy. The hero seems confident of himself and says, "Well, I just need to confront you," but the hero is cut off before he finishes his words, and the massacre continues against the hero. For a while, the hero manages to somehow escape, and for several days, the goblin with the red hat cannot find him. So he thinks that he has escaped. A member of the goblin tribe appears and tells him that something terrible has happened. Someone poisoned the drinking water, which led to the death of many. After he returns and checks the matter himself, he knows that the only one who can do this is that human. So he goes to look for him again, and the goblin's colleagues try to stop him since his enemy is able to return to life whenever he dies, but he doesn't care about that. While they are going to look for him, they find the corpse of one of the poor, and he has traces of poisoning on it. The goblin concludes with the red caps that this may be a trap to lure them out of the village. So he orders the others to return to protect the members of the tribe. As for him, he will go to find him. Despite the hero's rapid growth, the goblin thinks that he is able to overcome him because he has memorized his style, and style by fighting. But the goal of the hero was not the goblins in a village. Rather, it was the goblin with the red hat from the beginning, since he became lonely. The hero himself appears and says, "I will give you a chance, O goblin, the chance to die at my hands." The goblin knows that the hero is almost immortal, and that whenever he dies, he miraculously returns to life. As for him, if he dies, it will be his end and the end of all members of the tribe with him. So the demon promised the hero that he would keep him alive, but after he cut off all his limbs. But Mo did not care about that and said that he would eliminate the members of his tribe before he did so. It is the price, so there is nothing wrong with that, but you have to leave the members of the tribe in peace. And this was the end of the Goblin of the Red Hat, or at least this is what the hero thought. King Mo beat the hit with difficulty, but the goblin had already gained the advantage. Then he continued to attack, hitting and cutting. The hero would make sure to torture him as much as possible. But since the goblin always eliminated the hero quickly, he did not allow him the opportunity to study all the skills of the hero. And the title of the last survivor does not just return the hero to life, but when his health decreases to less than 10% and rapid regeneration is activated, the hero takes advantage of the opportunity. He clenches his fist on the goblin's neck and hits him with a strong punch, following it up with an even stronger punch that sends the goblin flying. The hero then pounces on him, crushing him against the wall. With this, the situation turns upside down. The hero falls on him, releasing all the anger that was inside him since the first meeting with the goblin. The goblin's level was very low at the time, and he was dying quickly. When he reached the 15th level, he was already exhausted from killing many monsters. The opportunity allowed him to show his fighting skills, which made the goblin lower his guard. This was his only mistake. The goblin begged for his life after realizing that he would die, but the hero had already learned his lesson, and this time it was the end of the goblin. The Red Hat was finally organized after he got his revenge. The hero breathed a sigh of relief and received a silver chest reward, which turned into a golden chest. He rose 3 levels, and by calculating the experience he had obtained previously, the hero reached level 20. However, there was something that puzzled the hero. The goblin's physical strength was very high, so he tried to inspect his body to discover the secret behind it. He found strange writings on his arm, but the writing suddenly faded from his hand and gathered in the form of a black ball in the sky. Then it penetrated the hero's hand, and a message appeared. He had absorbed the shattered planet and obtained a legendary skill. Then the hero returns to his world and goes to meet the old man, and since he has reached level 20, he has won the bet. But the old man refuses the challenge, and the hero cannot make another bet, because he will not agree to that. To avoid his anger, he offers to raise the price of the crystal that he buys. The hero says that if you are going to cancel our promise, you have to pay. More than that, either double or nothing. But the old man does not seem satisfied with this. The hero, Kang Mu, concedes about the matter since he is very interested in the relationship with the old man. Then he throws something at him, which is an element of legendary rank. The ring of trust doubles. Ascenses twice for a while. But the old man notices something strange with this ring and says that whoever looks at his form must have another part for him. But the hero replies that it is the only piece he found. The old man believes that and says that he will raise the price of the crystal to double as he wants. But indeed, there was a pair for this ring, which was in the possession of the hero, and he is the servant of obedience, which enables you to track the person who carries the ring of trust and can temporarily reduce their stats by 50%. Later, the hero trains with the old man, and since the old man was hiding his true abilities, the hero appears completely helpless in front of him. But because of his great potential, he still rises again. So the old man decides to become serious, and punches begin to rain down on him. He tries to respond with a punch, but the old man breaks his arm, so they take a break. The hero took advantage of the time and tried to collect some information about the asteroids that fall into hell. But this information is very rare, even among higher-ranking people, as the old man does not know anything about it. The old man advises the hero to clean that dungeon, so the hero seemed surprised. But if he wants to get support in the future, he has to make a record for himself, because no matter how strong he is, if he does not have experience, people will not take him seriously. He says to the old man that he will take care of arranging things. And then, since it is the first time he participates in it officially, he is sent to a one-star dungeon. Someone calls out to the participants in the dungeon. She is the supervisor of the entry test and also a hunter at the intermediate level. While explaining the rules, the hero feels bored, and the supervisor approaches him quickly and starts talking to him. And she says that his face is very familiar, but she does not remember where she saw him. Then she asks him if he brought his equipment with him. The hero takes out the stick that he forged earlier in hell, but one of the participants gets angry at Cause's actions, raises his weapon, and directs it toward the hero. But the supervisor intervenes quickly and easily puts him out. She falls, grabs the sword, and hits it next to his head and says that displaying weapons in the world are prohibited, while the hero watches the supervisor. He seems to have admired her abilities, so he thinks that it would be useful to test her. Strangely, the shadow of the hero extends and a strange emerges from him. He is the goblin with the red hat. The participants enter the dungeon. In this dungeon, they have to enter the cave of the goblins, as long as nothing dangerous happens. The supervisor will not help them. During the gathering, a goblin suddenly appears and attacks them, but easily the hero kicks him and flies away, which makes his. A colleague was stunned by that. Then the goblin's attack begins, and the participants also get rid of the goblins. During that, the supervisor noticed something strange. There was another person who had slaughtered the goblins. In advance, as she screams, "This is an emergency. We will return immediately." The supervisor checks on the participants, but someone is missing. Who is the hero Kang-moo? So they start looking for him. Return an hour ago when the hero was present. It seems that he felt bored because fighting was like child's play for him. So he decides to go alone, and when he reaches a secluded place, he uses the legendary skill that he got from killing the gob. And it is called the family skill, which he can, through this, brings the dead back to life as long as the target's body is not severely destroyed, like the Red Hat Goblin. And then he orders him to go and fight all the monsters in the area. But the only skill defect is that of the strength of the summoned skill is higher, then the users will be difficult to control it. He says that these are disgusting creatures because they are retarded. They cannot speak or carry a weapon, so he rips him in half. When the participants were looking for Kang-mo, he suddenly appears. The supervisor scolds him and tells him to stay near her. In the meantime, suddenly one of the participants runs in panic and seems to have seen the dead monsters previously, and unexpectedly, the goblin with the red. The hat appears and knocks him to the ground and raises his hook to finish him off. But quickly, the supervisor jumps behind the goblin and hits him. Then the battle begins when the hero was attending to test the supervisor's abilities. Or will she be able to win against the goblin of level 26? During the battle, the goblin ignores the suspect and goes towards the beginners. But in the middle of the road, he suddenly stops, then jumps high and makes a back attack on the supervisor, who is chasing him, and manages to hit her. Since things have become more than expected, the supervisor hurts herself to show everything she has by using her special skill, acceleration. This allows her for a short time to double her speed, which enables her to wound the goblin with the red hat. So he uses a smoke bomb and takes advantage of the smoke cover to capture one of the participants. And then the hero intervenes and uses the stick and hit a stone toward the goblin. The supervisor asks him to go back, but he refuses to do that. Since the hero has tested her capabilities, he knows that she is unable to win, so he says that he has not done anything since the beginning of the journey. This time she slightly injures the goblin's face. Then the supervisor rushes towards him, but the goblin throws another smoke bomb and hits the supervisor, and he advances as an attack and hits him. The goblin retreats from the severity of the blow, and the supervisor takes advantage of opportunity to attack from behind, but the goblin avoids the blow and kicks her. Then he tries to retreat, so he throws the beginner who captured him previously. Then it seems that he has lost control and wants to kill the participants, but the hero orders him to get out immediately, so he uses another smoke bomb and escape. Thus the battle ends without any losses. Later, the supervisor left the dungeon, and she goes to report the matter, but the employee does not see the changes have occurred in the dungeon, and because of that, the officials ignore the matter and do not believe it. Then the scene shifts to an employee who runs very quickly into the director's office and says that he has noticed something suspicious in some tests. The manager inspects the results and says, "Are you sure that there is no multifunction in the equipment?" Then suddenly another employee appears and submits a file to the same, a person who is the hero Kang Mu. But this was not the end. A third person appears and says that one of the unions pays 1 million to obtain the results of someone's test applicants. He is Kang Mu, but the director refuses that and says 1 million is a very small amount for this person. It seems that the results of the hero are all at the maximum level. Then the director orders her employees to collect the largest amount of information about this person. In the meantime, the hero returns to hell, opens the golden box that he obtained previously, and obtains a rare item, the dagger of the ancients, as well as a crystal cube which is used to refine and develop weapons. So the hero uses it to develop metal, gloves, and the dagger, thus obtaining the silver hand shield from the legendary category, as well as the blooded dagger from the legendary category. And the hero rises by trying the new weapons, and it seems that it has a huge amount of power. Then a message appears to him that the Whispering Planet is taking care of him, and the task begins at the bottom of the pyramid waiting for him. Then another window appears to him, saying that the star wants to test him. If you accept this task, the reward will increase. As for the task, he must survive for 48 hours. That is a curse that will be cast after the mission, and the hero accepts the terms. And after that window appears to him, saying that the stars he met previously are all watching him. Another window appears that he has been afflicted with a curse, which is the curse of the delicious taste. These curses seem to be a curse that releases a scent that stimulates the appetite, and the monsters can smell it from long distances. The hero hears a sound coming from afar, so prepare for the fight. And if it has swarms of hundreds of thousands of mosquitoes attacking him, but because of the poisonous blood of the hero, the mosquitoes die when absorbed, and even with large numbers of mosquitoes, it does not seem the hero is interested in this. And when he comes out of the building, it is not only the mosquitoes that aim at him, but also the pigeons, and with this, he is chased funnily by an army of pigeons and mosquitoes. The hero is happy about that, but he soon changes his mind when one of the monsters grabs him and bites his head off. Then he dies. The task is to the beginning, and because of the great knowledge and despair, because there is no way to escape, signs of despair appear on the hero's face, and then the hero hears a voice telling him to turn right, makes the hero feel terrified and thinks that he is hallucinating. But the voice continues to speak to him and informs him on the way to the pyramid so he can escape from these monsters, but they appear suddenly from under the ground. A huge spider is attacking the hero. The hero miraculously avoided the attack, and it hit the monsters behind him. But he wonders about the person who helped him. It turns out that the planet that gave him the legendary skill before is the Planet Whisperer. In return, he had to obey and love her. However, in reality, the Whispering Planet was trying to control the hero's mind and hypnotize him. The hero drowned in a sea of dreams that the Whispering Planet showed him. When he was about to surrender, he suddenly woke up and said, "Unfortunately, I already have a mistress." The hero thought he had angered the planet, but no, she didn't seem to mind. She said he must find a way to survive first, then gave him a small gift. However, it didn't seem to the hero that there was any way to escape the pyramid. The spider pounced on him and wrapped its threads around him. After a while, the ghoul with the red hat appeared, accompanied by the fairy Ryan, and saved the hero from the cocoon in which the spider had imprisoned him. However, he appeared unconscious, so the fairy hit him on his stomach, and the hero woke up. When he looked at his hand, he found that his hand to shield had changed. In addition, he had 6 fingers instead of 5. It seemed that this was the gift of the Whispering Planet, which was a rare legendary element that increased the strength of the fist 3 times and could also control spider webs. He attracted them to him, and a full mosquito appeared, pinching one of the monsters. Strangely, the other monsters attacked him, and it seemed that this was because the hero had tamed the mosquito and made it suck its blood. Then he emptied the blood inside the monsters, so the monsters attacked each other. Through the spider's web, the hero could determine the whereabouts of the monsters. So he continued to manipulate them for a good period of time, but the monsters appeared smarter than ghouls. They cut spider webs so the hero couldn't locate them. When they appeared, a group of zombies dressed in army clothes appeared. The hero tied his dagger to the spider's thread, then hit the heads of zombies from afar and eliminated a large number of them. But it didn't seem like enough, so he decided to escape to the roof. However, when he ascended, another group of zombies received him and they sprayed him with a barrage of bullets. Because of the curse of blood that he obtained, another group of ghouls quickly appeared behind the hero, and thus he was surrounded from all sides. Then the ghouls and zombies began to attack together, and a window appeared for the system at the time remaining until the end of the task was only 46 minutes. However, this time was enough to tear the hero several times. The hero came out of the storage of the crystal cube and ate it to replenish his mana, in particular, to use the skill that he'd been avoiding because it depleted a lot of mana, which was the skill of domination. Through it, he could intimidate and terrorize monsters and control them if they had a little intelligence. So he controlled the zombies and ordered them to attack the ghouls. It worked, but it didn't seem like all zombies were under the hero's control, because biting them was outside the range of the skill. When the zombie was about to kill the hero, the imp with the red hat appeared and chopped off the heads of the zombies. He said to the hero, "You have to thank me for this later," and then continued cutting the heads. But it seemed that the hero's mana was depleting quickly. So when the mana runs out, he will lose control over them and die inevitably. He thinks of attracting mosquitoes to him. When he comes out of the store, he puts on a white cloak. When the mosquito attacks him, it cannot penetrate the cloak. So he attacks other monsters in the area, but the hero loses his caution a little. A zombie approaches him and bites him in his foot. The hero gets angry and crushes the zombie's head, but because of the bite, he loses a lot of blood. If this continues, he will not be able to resist. If a crazy idea occurs to the hero, he orders the mosquito to attack the monsters and suck their blood. He says that this is the only way to be able to succeed. Then the mosquito returns and injects the blood of the monsters into the hero. The hero screams and falls casually. His body begins to change and turns into a monster. He starts screaming like a madman and pounces on the monsters. He grabs the head of one of them and eats it. Then a window appears. He has been given the title of the Lord of Hell. With the effect of this title, the hero can increase his physical abilities by 30%. However, his blood is depleted by a large amount, and it seems as if the hero has lost control of himself. He starts screaming and attacking randomly, cutting a large number of ghouls. But the ghouls were not weak, so one of them punches Kang Mu, holds his head, and crushes him to the ground. The other ghouls quickly gather and pin the hero to the ground. The monster inside him wakes up. He displays the ghoul and eats it. Then the bloodshed begins. The hero says, "Since the beginning of this stupid task, I've been the one being eaten. So this time, I will eat everyone." The hero jumps high and destroys the ground beneath him. The massacre begins, but this time not by the monsters, but by the hero. He grabs one of the monsters, then blows his head up like a watermelon. As for the others, he cuts them into pieces. A mountain of monsters is gathered under the hero's feet, and a massacre that has never happened before in history takes place where one human eliminates an army of monsters alone, or rather, half a human. A window appears stating that the task has been completed successfully.